Hello, my friend. Sometimes it seems as if you are completely forgetting the ways in which you have become stronger, the ways in which you have improved in how you are in the world, and most especially the ways in which you do things differently and have a much greater grasp of what you're up against and how you can deal with it. So, some time ago, if somebody slighted you, you would have simply gone to pieces. You would have removed yourself from all exchanges with other people. You would have cut yourself off for a long time by yourself, neglecting your health, your needs, and your well-being. And you would have hated everybody because of that one exchange and that one person who couldn't see that you were vulnerable and who thought that you were overconfident or that you were rude even. And you were rude sometimes. And therefore you did trigger people reacting to you this strongly. And therefore you did make it impossible for yourself to feel at ease in the world and to carry on, regardless of how hard it sometimes gets. That's how it was some years ago. Do you remember? And then you went through a phase where you could see that you were overreacting and you started hating yourself for overreacting. And you started cursing the world for having made your life so difficult for you that you would overreact and that you did feel so weak and lacking in strength. But then you realized that you couldn't just lock yourself away from the world, even though you felt so angry and upset about how it was going. Do you remember? You decided that you had to learn to stand the pain of not being understood, not being met halfway, not being taken seriously sometimes, and sometimes being bullied or pushed around. It's not that you came to the conclusion that you should just put up with it. You came to the conclusion that some of that was going to be inevitable and that therefore you needed to learn to tolerate some of that frustration. You needed to create some negative capability, as Keats would call it, some capacity to accept the negative things in the world and to not despair over them, but stand them and understand them, learning to respond to them in different ways. And then gradually you learn to see that other people too were struggling with these things, and that quite often, more often than not, when people behaved in these ways with you that used to drive you to despair, it was because they were afraid, or they were anxious, or they were feeling you were a danger to them. And gradually you became capable of softening the way you come across and approach people with less suspicion and more generosity, with less fear and more courage, with less of a tendency to assume they were against you, and more of a capacity to show them that you were not against them. And then things started to improve. You began to find people who you would allow through the sieve and who would be able to connect to you in new ways. And from that moment on, things have been better. So don't fall back into these old patterns where you damn the whole world and you stay in your place away from it all. Dare to approach and give something of yourself to create an environment in the world where you can meet other people and they can meet you too, my friend. Not everyone should come through your sieve, but some people definitely should. Make sure you keep figuring that out. Yes, that's right. Sometimes we all need a little bit of a stroke and a little bit of reassurance. Okay, Bruno. Take care, my friend. Be well.